Good morning, and on Tuesday the 20th of June, greetings from Northumberland. It's a dull and cloudy morning with a promise of rain later on, which is no bad thing. Although we love the sunshine, a little bit of rain is really well needed at the moment. We continue our journey through Matthew chapter 5, and Jesus is continuing to challenge not only our actions, but our attitudes. And today we come to what I think is a very difficult passage. Jesus said, "You've heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." This is a marvelous sounding passage, a marvelous thing. And we've all seen noble people who have prayed for those who persecuted them and even put them to death. But it's also a very challenging post. I follow the lives of some ordinary people in Kiev, in Ukraine. And I see day by day the way in which their lives are disrupted and disfigured by the terrible war of aggression waged by President Putin's government and their accomplices in Russia. And although we know probably that many Russian soldiers really probably don't want to fight, we know that they are fighting. And we know that Ukraine is desperately fighting for its survival and freedom, particularly in the light of its previous experiences of being subsumed into Russia. So who could argue and not pray for them in their fight for freedom? But how do we then not allow that to spill over into a feeling that all Russians are evil, that the only thing to do is to utterly defeat and humiliate them? I don't know. It's hard even on a personal level when there are those who perhaps make our lives difficult, who are unpleasant to us, who thoughtlessly or deliberately cause us harm. Jesus again calls us to challenge our attitudes. On a personal level, it's easier to understand because the hatred we nurse can poison us as individuals. And I suppose this is true too at a national level. So Jesus calls us, even as we stand up for the right and seek to protect the innocent, not to be corrupted and polluted by the hatred that destroys or disfigures individuals and nations. It is important that we continue to struggle with this saying so that God's grace and God's life may help us to combat hatred which wells up inside ourselves. May God bless us all today. Amen.